Hi there. I wanted to try and explain something to you. I've had a few conversations with people over the last week or so, trying to sort of explain how we are now offering our complementary therapy training, because it's a little bit complicated when you first hear it, because nobody else in the country, I don't think, is working the way in which we're working. So I wanted to try and explain it in a little bit more detail. And I'm going to use these Post-it notes because as I was talking to somebody last week, I was using the analogy of Post-it notes, and I thought that was a really good idea. So I'm going to share that with you. Now, this whole process of thinking about how we wanted to deliver training actually started last summer. And my main aim is really to reduce the barriers to education and to help people that want to exit from a job that they are not enjoying or start a career that they have been thinking about for a very long time, but they have other things going on in their life that they really need to spend time with as well. So I'm talking about families in particular, but maybe other jobs as well. Now, the Diploma in Complementary Therapies has three distinct pathways, but they also have three very separate core units, if you like. So I'm going to separate these out, and I'm going to say that my orange pad of paper here is all about the principles and practices of complementary therapy. So I'm going to pop that down there for a moment. I know you can't see it. Then we have the anatomy and physiology and pathology for complementary therapies. And this is an extension of the anatomy and physiology that if you've done any body massage under the beauty therapy that you would have done. And that's pink. We then have business practice for complementary therapies. My business practice is yellow. And then we then have our technical unit, which could be massage, aromatherapy, or reflexology. So I'm going to pop that there. So if I just pop this down, then you might be able to see. So we have our introduction, our principles and practices. We have our anatomy and physiology. We have our business, and we have our technical, either aromatherapy, reflexology, or massage. Now, what's happened before, and what most people do, is they have one course that they say, this is the course that you have to do. So if we're talking about reflexology, this is our course, and it's made up of 4 different parts. And what we've done is we've separated them out. I've got to remember which way around they were now. This was my introduction. This was my anatomy and physiology. This was my business. And this was my reflexology. So we've said the principles and practices is really an introduction to the whole of complementary therapies. So what we've done is we've made this as an online program, which you can take and be assessed in completely online. So when you join, you get 60 days to complete these principles and practices. It's assessed through 3 written assignments, which you would then upload onto our Therapy Learning Resources site. You would also be part of a WhatsApp group, and you have Michelle and myself and the rest of the community to talk to about the whole of complementary therapies. What's it about? What is the legislation? What do you need to know about working in private practice? Where are you going to get information? What type of job roles are there? All sorts of things. So this is done as a completely standalone program, and we are actually now making this a prerequisite for all of our practical. So moving down here, this is our business. Now, one of the things that's always kind of made me a little bit concerned is, how can you start to think about building a business when you've not even done any practical and you don't even know what the industry is about? So I want this to be a standalone online program that you can do after you've done your practical, while you're working through your case studies, and once you are developing an idea of where do you want to work. You've maybe built up some relationships with other people in the industry, and you're thinking about working from home, working mobile. What does it all mean? So this is done very much at the end. The two biggies then really are the practical and the anatomy and physiology. So we're making these obviously joint. However, this is assessed in its own right. And if you went on to do massage or aromatherapy, you wouldn't need to do this again, but equally you wouldn't need to do that again either. So that's good. But these two really need to be done in conjunction with each other. So we are suggesting that you start the anatomy and physiology anywhere up to about 3 months before you start your practical, whether it be reflexology or massage. And that way, we're separating out, at the end of the day, you are still getting all of the units that you need to get your qualification to allow you to join the professional associations, but you can spread them out. And you can do this one completely in its own entirety, this one in its own entirety. You could even do this one and then that one. So it becomes a building block. But there's no reason why you couldn't do these two together if you were already a massage therapist, and then build on this one because you've already got some anatomy and physiology. Get these three out of the way and just concentrate on this. So that's how we're reducing barriers to building a career after children, getting out of the job that you really want to get out of, and building the future and the career that you want. So the question I get asked then is, so where do I start? So I always start with the end. When do you want to do your practical? And then let's build these little blocks around the practical. So our next practical courses start in September, then again in January, and then again in April. So the most important is this one here. So we are open to enrolments all the time. So you can start this when it's right for you. So I look forward to helping you build your career in complementary therapies.